Throughout most of my life as a gamer, I've focused mostly on single-player titles. It was never that I was antisocial or didn't enjoy competition. It was that single-player games usually gave me a world to immerse myself in. The very first game that I actually started dedicating large chunks of time to was The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, and so, for those of you who are familiar, you can probably understand why I would seek out more titles that specialize in giving me a large world to explore on my own. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy multiplayer games, and in fact, back when the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 were having their glory days, I owned a 360, and very often enjoyed my time playing Halo 3 or Call of Duty 4. And believe it or not, back then, players would jump into a lobby with either of these games and happily put on their headsets to communicate with each other. That's right, complete strangers talking to one another. Who'd have thought? And that's not because communities were better back then. There were still plenty of Spartans running around screaming the lyrics to the most recent Fallout Boy song, along with others telling you just how bad at video games you really are. Players still killed their teammates just to get a cheap laugh for themselves, leaving you seething in the corner. And personally, I've had a few kind people educate me as to where I should shove my controller. But this was still a special time for video games. It was a time when people were so passionate about what games they were playing that they were willing to jump on the microphone and exchange insults with their enemies, and occasionally their teammates too. And I remember making a few friends through Halo 3, a game that brought so many people together, and for those friends I already had who also owned the console, Halo 3 was a fantastic outlet for letting out our anger against each other. But as time went on, it was more common for us all to talk to each other in party chat. For those of you unfamiliar with Xbox, party chat is just a little private chat room for you and your friends. Doing this wouldn't allow you to hear players in the game, only your friends, even if they're playing something entirely different. Certain games restricted your use of party chat, such as Modern Warfare 2, but most other titles didn't care. However, some games focused on multiplayer just can't seem to keep communities where players are active with each other. In the latest Call of Duty, I find myself not talking to teammates and instead just playing the game. It doesn't necessarily feel like I'm playing with other people online, more like bots, but it's still a fun time killer. It's probably not how the game was meant to be played, but it's how I play it. Lately though, I've found myself trying to communicate with players in-game more often. There's something unique about being able to jump into an online game and strategize with your teammates, to give callouts and alert them of enemy locations, or even just to goof off with one another. And this interaction has been very nostalgic of the Xbox 360 days I mentioned earlier. We're all just sitting down to enjoy a game, but sometimes we can really enjoy it together. And what greater feeling is there than working together with strangers to accomplish a shared goal? The only other answer I'd accept is dipping your feet into slightly warm butter. That's it. This connection between players was what playing online was all about back in the day, especially when it was introduced to consoles. The fact that I can play Call of Duty with someone from another part of the world, kill them, and then tell them they eat poop, it's one of humanity's greatest achievements. But as time went on, and maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but I feel like we lost that bond that unites gamers playing online. More often than not, players are sitting in Xbox Live parties, Skype, or Discord, and whatever PlayStation has. For me, generally, playing in an online match where no one is talking to one another feels like little more than playing in an offline game with bots. It's not as satisfying when you finally defeat the player that's been putting you in your place, and it's not as exciting as when your entire team is communicating and working together in order to best your enemies. But of course, not everyone wants to play their games like this. A lot of players, myself included, tend to lean more towards the single-player games that are tailored for a certain type of experience. And as fun as online games may be, sometimes it's nice to just turn off the voice chat and lose myself in a compelling, exciting, solo adventure. That being said, one of the main reasons why I'm bringing this topic up is because of a very particular game that will be coming out soon. A game that will either succeed or flop based on the aspect of its player interaction. A game that I'm very much looking forward to getting lost in while trying to dodge and work together with other players. Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is sounding to be a very interesting blend of single-player gameplay and a co-op PvP experience, depending on what you might enjoy the most. And it sounds fantastic to me. Being able to tackle the world with friends, either building settlements to aid you and other teams, or to gear up and try to face off with every new player you come across, making you the most notorious gang around. Or if you'd rather, you can go off on your own and try to survive against the cruel world by yourself. You can scavenge for supplies, build your own little base, and ward off invading players. Or, hey, maybe even make a few new friends. And the choice of gameplay here is sounding to be quite special. Fallout 76 will be a game that allows you to play however you want to play. Explore the world, do quests, build bases, or attack other players. The choice is yours. Oh, you can also nuke other people. And while Fallout 76 seems to be sacrificing even more of the franchise's original formula, it's also introducing new concepts. If Fallout 76 is a game that works, and works well, then I truly believe that it's the game Fallout 4 should have been. Sacrificing many role-playing elements in order to introduce multiplayer in a vast, expansive way might be the change in direction that this series needs. And with Bethesda having a very good idea of what they want this game to be, there's a lot of hope for Fallout 76. It may not be the single-player, role-playing game that many of us craved, but perhaps it can introduce us to an entirely new way to experience Fallout. And I hope that the next time you boot up your favorite multiplayer game, you might consider disabling your party chat. Perhaps you'll meet some new friends, or perhaps you'll leave the game crying. There's only one way to find out. It's important that we still connect with each other online. One of gaming's greatest achievements is the ability to play with people from around the world. And that wraps it up for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that this video encourages you to start talking to other people when you're playing games online. With the release of Fallout 76 just around the corner, I think that we should all try to open ourselves up and help each other out. Or kill each other and be a complete asshole. Either one. Anyways, thanks again, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Probably like 6 months from now.